So hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome, Adarsh, and welcome everyone for our yet another BBKP session, which we always have on Friday. This time around, we're having it a little early on popular demand, and heartiest congratulations, Adarsh, of
Thank you so much.
having multiple calls. Speaks volumes about your preparation, your character, the way you cracked interviews. Obviously, getting multiple calls, multiple conversions, not that simple. People can fight over uh, percentiles that, or how should I put it, that people can make percentiles as trophies. That I got a 99.9, but I'm still sitting where I am. But actually, even if whatever percentile you get does not count if you're not able to get into a good B school. Okay, if you actually don't get into and don't get educated for the next 2 years in an elite B school, which changes your character, which changes the way you see life. So heartiest congratulations. I am Bangalore, I am Calcutta, and the list continues. That's a fantastic achievement. I'm sure all the students are excited to hear from you on how to approach, the upcoming paper. And since you've just been through the preparation, we'll also like to hear from you and understand how do we, what extra can we do? Are we missing out on something which we can learn from you? Obviously, so we at Hitbullseye believe that there's every time every student can also teach you, and that's how we always fine tune our strategy and in turn impart the education for the upcoming batch. So welcome. But I was interacting for all the students, and I've always been saying it all the BBKP sessions that when I was interacting with Adarsh yesterday for a very brief time of 10-15 minutes, again, a very mature person came across, a determined person came across. He also shared a couple of his, which he'll share with you. He also shared a couple of his moments of nervousness which he came out of, and which he'll share with you as well. So over to you, Adarsh. I'm sure more than me, students want to listen to you and understand from you how to go about the preparation. Also, keeping in mind that I've always said to all the students, please keep asking questions. It's a very personalized preparation. What might suit one person might not suit the other person. So you can ask questions and clarify your doubts. That's utmost important, utmost important, and we'll try to answer all the questions. Also, keeping in mind that the session is live on YouTube and will subsequently be viewed on YouTube. So if certain questions get missed, I'll automatically obviously ask others all those questions so that everyone seeing this session uh, after this is over does not feel having missed out. Okay. So over to you, Adarsh. Before
Thank,
they cut me off, that I'm speaking more than the celebrity of the session, right? The Shah Rukh Khan of the session. Please, over to you. Please tell us about your journey. Please, but before that, please tell us about yourselves.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Deepak sir and Hitbullseye for providing me this opportunity to share my experience. My name is Adarsh Kesri and I belong to Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. I have completed my BTech from AKTU College and I am a fresher. Currently, I am enrolled in PGP 60 batch of IIM Calcutta. So, talking about my preparation, I started preparing back in July 2022. After my sixth semester exams were over, I started preparing for CAT. So, in the starting point, I was very much as a noob for the exams. Like in the mocks, I was scoring just above 30 and 40 marks. That was not good enough marks for CAT. In the subsequent time when I started preparing for DILR, specifically that portion was major weakness of mine. So what I did was in that I started solving CAT previous year questions without the help of anyone, any teacher. I started solving those sets of the previous year, which helped me to build the basic concept required. And when I was attending classes, then that also helped me to build up the pace which is required to solve these questions in the set of 20 minutes. Now talking about my quants, coming from a mathematics background, I was familiar with the concept of the quants, so that was not a big deal for me. Yes, sir. So that's all with my preparation, sir. Major part was, sir, for me to cope up with the DILR section, because when I started, I was scoring like -40 in that section. So for me, that was the most difficult part. And self-studying, keeping with the pace, solving sets, as many sets possible, having basic knowledge of each concept like set theory, Venn diagram, and quants, etc., will help you to solve the DLR set. Keep grinding. This is the only way to solve DILR. And apart from that, solve mocks. Take them as serious as an actual paper, because mocks definitely help to analyze one's performance. And after solving a mock, please go through that mock again, because there's this room of development in every each and every paper. So that's all from my side. And try to come in the IIMs. IIM experience is very different from any other school. IIMs are great. I'm having that much fun in this college. Like, I'm Calcutta is so great. I would love to join you all with this session. Thank you, sir. Deepak sir, over to you.
That's a very others. That's a very humble way of putting it across. That ye kar lo. So I was reading a psychology book, which also said that ye kar lo. But at the end of the day, it's about the implementation, and you very humbly put it. But we like to actually analyze the whole thing in depth and understand what made you a success, instead of making a percentile a trophy, and you finally landed up at Calcutta. So are you speaking from the hostel room of Calcutta?
Yes, sir. I'm speaking from the
So
hostel
first of
room
all,
itself.
is this an AC room, or are you sitting in the seat without the AC?
No, sir, it's not an AC room, but it's just a
No, that's
normal room.
okay. So the whole thing which comes is that uh, the happiness of landing up in an IM, even when the rooms and sitting in a room when the rooms don't even have an AC in this sultry heat,
Yes, sir.
is even makes a person happy.
Yes,
Okay, so
sir.
yeah, I mean, it's like if you have that, then you can switch off the AC right now, and then have that passion to get into a particular B school. That's what IMs are all about. It's not
Yeah.
about fancy furniture, fancy desks, but it's about what is imparted and what you learn over the next 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Experience.
So,
Yes.
who motivated you to start preparing for CAT? Is my first question.
Okay, sir. Sir. So, sir, uh, I wanted to go for IPM in my 12th, but due to some reason, I wasn't able to fill up the form at that time, because I was unaware of that paper. I got to know very late about IPM program. So when I joined BTech, I thought that I have to appear for CAT and go into an IIM, because that was my dream from very beginning. So in my third year, I started preparation for the CAT paper of 2022. And so before diving deep into how I frame my strategy, I tried multiple strategies of different people. Like, whatever in the coaching teachers were trying to say, that you do this type of work, like sitting 2 hours in a straight line, start reading A1 articles, and having a vocabulary book to see the meaning of the each and every passage, each and every word. This was the basic part I was doing in the beginning. And again, that, sir, afterwards I started to figure out that which strategy is more suitable for me, and which areas I have to work really hard. Like, I was facing problem with the vocabulary part of my VRC preparation. So I started keeping notes of words which I was coming across each and every day. This was the first step I took to approach VRC section. Afterwards, sitting for 2 hours is very helpful, because the actual paper is also for 2 hours. So if you have a habit to sit for 2 hours straight without having a break, then it's really helpful for the final paper, sir. And apart from that, for DILR, it is that what I follow was to solve each and every CAT paper. They are really helpful. You have to have some basic knowledge before solving that. Like, as I mentioned, that you have to be very careful about Venn diagrams, like solving puzzles. Sudoku really helped me to develop that ability to solve puzzles in a fast manner in a short span of time. So we were told that to solve Sudoku as much as we get free time, we were solving that as well. Cons, again, cons is like if you are not from a maths background, I would suggest a person should go for solving in the first few months of his preparation to solve at least 10 questions with basic arithmetic keeping into the center of his studies, because arithmetic has a part which plays very important role in CAT. And so apart from that, keep on grinding, sir. You have to repeat the cycle each and each every time. Like if you are feeling that today you are not going to study, but again keep the dream in your mind that I have to sit in IIM. It is really important to always be motivated by yourself, because coaching will help up to a certain part, and after that fight is your own. You have to fight with yourself, not with the others. So you have to improve yourself. And most importantly, it is very important to understand that why CAT exam is designed in such a way. So as far as I get to know that CAT exams prepare us for the struggle which we face in the IIMs. Like whatever the task we have to do in IIMs, CAT makes us little bit aware of that from a very early stage. So preparing CAT is actually preparing you for the IIM experience. It is very important to keep grinding, keep grinding. Life is not going to be easy after CAT, but you will be prepared for that hard life after cracking CAT. So
So
over to you.
yeah. So while I understand the keep grinding, but you would have had your how did so when you started, you said you started per se in 2022. You started that
Yes, sir.
preparation, right? In your sixth semester is what I understand.
Yes.
What you said. So had you done something before this? What were you doing before this? Because EON essays and everything is obviously told by the institute itself. So had you been reading those EON essays? Had you been solving Sudoku and all that? Or
Yes,
some
sir.
puzzles, Venn diagrams from LRDI? Were you already doing it, or did you actually start your preparation from 22?
So I actually started my preparation for 22 only. Before that, I wasn't doing anything related to CAT. I was only focusing on my academics in my college. So when I started preparing, then I started reading EON articles, solving Sudoku and all this. Yes, sir.
So that goes a long way to prove that getting a 99 plus percentile is very much possible, even if someone's just started the preparation.
Yes,
We've
sir.
had multiple. I'll also like to highlight here, Adarsh, that there've been students who've come up, who've been our students who started preparing 3 months, 4 months. Rather, last session, one of the students started studying in August, and he
Yes,
attended
sir.
all the basic classes, multiple batches. He completed in a fast-paced manner and did it in multiple batches. So again goes to prove what we've been telling in BBKP, that 1 year or less than 1 year is more than sufficient for you to prepare for this paper. But you said that now that you're on the other side, and you said that it is actually preparing you for the IIMs. What do you study? Why do you feel that it is actually checking your capability of studying in an IIM? How is that happening? I though I know it is, but I want to hear it more from you.
Okay, sir. So, sir, the what I mean by the IIM experience is that in the IIM you have to wake up at 7:30. Deadlines are sacrosanct here. You cannot miss even a single deadline. Timing is absolutely necessary. If you are late in the class for just 1 minute, you are not allowed to enter the class. And after that, you have to face penalties as well. And after completing rigorous classes of 3 hours or 4 hours, you have to go to the auditorium and then attend a session. Guest is coming, entrepreneur is coming, you have to attend that. And after that, if you get some time, you have to prepare for PPTs, presentation, and quizzes, which will be happen in the subsequent time in over the period of days. And after all so this for that CAT help in making a scheduled time slot of your day, dividing the particular time is very important part of the CAT for your preparation. And that is also required in IIM also, that you are dividing your time, how you are spending your each and every minute. That part is absolutely necessary. So so CAT preparation helps in that as well, sir. This is the point.
Which was your, the first question actually. Now that we're talking about sections and paper, one of the questions which has come up already is that which was your weakest section and how did you cope up with it? Hayati is
So,
asking
sir,
that question. Yeah.
so, sir, as I mentioned, that DILR was my weakest point. I was aware of the basic formulas at the in the beginning when I was attending classes, but I was unable to solve the set. How to develop the approach to imagine that this is the particular solution I was reading and writing. To have developed that ability, I have to start working from the cat's paper itself. I was taking a set of the cat, spending hours to understand each and every line what it was saying, and then after that trying to solve that set with multiple approach. If one approach is not working, try to think of another way without taking help of any external factor. So this process, when I started, it was taking like 2 hours for one set, 3 hours for one set, and I am unable to solve. But slowly and slowly repeating this process, I was able to grasp what the author is saying in that very set and how to tackle it. So this came by taking this, repeating this process over a period of extended period of time. That is what I will like to add, sir.
Okay. Okay. So when did you start taking the mock cats?
The mock, I started taking mocks after August, sir. After having 2 months of preparation, I started taking
How
mocks.
many mocks did you take approximately?
So in total, I've taken around 30 mocks. In the last, I was giving mocks like every day in November. But before that, I was giving mocks weekly basis.
Sorry, come again. I missed that.
So I have taken in total of around 30 plus mocks.
Mhm.
And in the November, when we have the actual cat, I was taking mocks regularly. Like I was taking mocks daily basis and revising all the concept. And in the beginning, in August, I was taking weekly basis mocks, like a mock
So
in.
do you think? What do you think? Should a person start taking mock cats early, or is August the right time? What do you think?
I think, sir, giving mocks is better from an early stage. People should start giving mocks from an early stage, because that will develop the necessary experience required for the cat. And
Exactly. So this is what all the students have been saying, all the people who've cracked the paper, that taking mock, even when you've not covered the basics, is very important because at the end of the day, it's an aptitude paper. And an aptitude paper and the syllabus is endless. So
yes, sir.
while, even the books, we'll try to cover 90-95% of the syllabus, but actually the syllabus is endless. They can still come up with something new. So you need to understand the strategy of which question to pick, which question to leave, and hence take it forward from there. That ability is very important. So, the greatest of the batsmen, others still have a weakness. They still nick the balls, but they don't stop playing for that. कि मैं पहले जाऊंगा, मैं पहले जाके वो निक वाला खत्म करके आऊंगा, फिर मैं अगला
Yes,
मैच
sir.
खेलूंगा तो टाइम निकल जाएगा. ठीक है, पर बच्चों का टाइम आ जाएगा, आपके बच्चों का टाइम आ जाएगा पेपर देने का. तो जब
Yes, sir.
बच्चों का टाइम आ जाएगा पेपर देने का, तो एज बार तो नहीं है, आप वो भी कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, बट आइडली हम चाहेंगे आप वो ना करें. ठीक है, ऐसा कोई भी ना करे कि अपने बच्चों के साथ, अपने पोतों दोतों के साथ बैठ के दें, ऐसा मत करिएगा. ठीक है, तो साथ में दीजिए, क्योंकि पेपर का सिलेबस कभी खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. एवरीवन हैज सेड दैट, Adarsh also has said. Thanks, Adarsh. So, you can reconfirm. So,
Yes,
I
sir.
you say for CAT 2023 students who are listening to us should start taking the mock cats immediately and increase the frequency if they have that courage to and the time to do it. Am I right, Adarsh?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, you're right, sir. They should start giving mocks as soon as possible.
तो जब आपका क्वेश्चन गलत होता था, आप क्या करते थे? आप उसको कहीं पे लिखते थे कि आप उसको how did you remember that concept? Because mock cat driven approach is slightly different from a basics driven approach.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
So how did you manage those questions once you got them wrong?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, so before solving a question, you should be aware that from where this question is coming from. Like it is a arithmetic question or it is a whatever the type of subject it question is. So this is the important part. Like if I didn't know one question, one particular question, then I will try to remember the concept which are related to that very question. Like, try to remember the examples I have solved similar to that very question, because CAT doesn't repeat the question, but CAT follows kind of similar questions in the subsequent years. So
Yes.
if you solve multiple questions back in your preparation and while giving mock, you are unable to grasp the concept instantly, by remembering the examples similar to that question are very helpful. Like Like if a question is from sequence and series, what you can do is you can remember all the basic formulas of the sequences which are mentioned in your syllabus, and afterwards you can try to tackle that question in a different approach. It might work. Yes, sir. So this was the way I was taking.
Okay, so and when you were doing the basics, were you writing it separately, the concepts, or were you highlighting it in the book itself? How were you doing it?
For me, writing was more helpful because when I write, I also try to remember that concept. So writing is more suitable for me. And one thing I would like to add, sir, while giving my actual paper, there was this moment came when I was feeling very nervous in the BRC section.
In the
So
actual paper is what you're
yeah,
talking about.
in the yes, sir, in the actual paper. So
Okay.
I was very anxious because of the process of giving the paper. We have to wait like 20-30 minutes outside the center, and there was tension all over the place. So we entered the room, and I sat down. I waited for extra 15 minutes. Then paper start, and in that very moment, I was unable to understand even a single RC. So I tried to keep up with the pace with the time, and approached to two different RCs, and then attended all the other questions. Afterwards, when I moved to the DILR section, I knew that my VARC section was bad. I messed up in the paper in VARC section. So that moment, I decided to not focus on the weakness of the mistake which I have made. Rather, I will try to solve whatever question comes in front of me and forget about the past. In that moment, I approached to my DILR part and solved all the sets which I was coming across. Afterwards, I went to the quant section and solved the questions. When my result came, it was bad in VARC part, but the DILR and quants uh, saved my results, sir. So I
Made
got,
you sail through. Yes, made
yeah,
you sail.
yeah,
So it's all about getting those couple of balls in the middle of the bat, and then
yes, sir.
then the flow happens, right? बहुत सारे जने ऐसा नहीं है मैं आपको बताता हूँ आदर्श that बहुत a lot of students just leave the hope the moment they feel that they've missed out on a couple of questions. वो hope जब चली जाती है ना तो then everything just goes out of hand, which you very rightly manage because it's not only a aptitude also means the emotional aptitude, and that's what you showed right in the paper, which are right there in the paper. Very nice. So VRC में ऐसा हुआ, so was it a smooth sailing in DILR and quant as well, or did you feel you got stuck in a couple of questions as well there?
No, sir, I was not stuck in any question afterwards. I was easily able to solve all the sets in the DILR and quants. But sir, I made a silly mistake in quants. I marked two different wrong options for the question which I solved correctly. So for two questions, I messed up in quants, and due to which I scored little less than expected in quant.
Okay. So was it because of nervousness or just uh, तेजी में हो गया? Was it because of nervousness? Why did that happen when you look
So
back?
actually, that was because I was looking at the time, and I think I have to reach to other questions. So in that moment, it happened.
So just let me summarize this point because we have a best practice of one of our earlier BBKP sessions. So this student who started preparing in August said that I used to whenever I was taking, and this is for all the people listening to us, whenever I used to take the CAT paper, I used to actually sit half an hour doing nothing, apart from and just visualizing the way I'll be sitting in the paper, and made me when I landed up to take the paper finally, it was exactly the same what I was doing. So had Adarsh or maybe these students listening to us, they manage that half an hour before is very important because we can learn this from Adarsh here that he could have done his VARC section better had he just been following that routine. Am I right, Adarsh?
Yes,
So our
absolutely, sir.
mistakes can also teach others. Yes. तो थोड़ा अच्छा हो जाता अगर वो आधा घंटे का पहले ब्रेक लेके शुरू किया जाता, and keep being yourself in a room and all that and visualizing that it's going to be there. I am a Dinesh Karthik fan, and I certainly feel that visualizing what's going to finally happen in the paper is very important. But another best practice which I picked from Adarsh's talk is, so his senses were working fine. He was reading properly. He was relating to the concept that he had read, and he was writing. Okay, so he was using all that he could to imbibe a particular concept, and that is very, very important. You've read a particular thing, but you don't remember where is it from the book. Can make things go haywire in a nervous situation. You know what you have to do? It's like I play golf. In a very simple way, I also end up hitting bad shots. But then I go back, I remember what my coach had told me. I just follow it, and the next shot goes proper. So it's a lot mental game that you relate to what you've studied for this paper. Very right, Adarsh. So we pick up that best practice from you.
Thank you, sir.
So which all calls did you get, Adarsh?
I got a call from Accelerize. I'm apart from Ahmedabad and Indore, all other calls from IIM and FMS IIT Bombay.
Okay. Okay. So, but sorry, we missed one question. Ayush is asking, because I moved to the interview part, and Ayush should ask the question here. So, what was your strategy for solving quant in the actual paper? If you can just throw some more light there, Ayush, Adarsh.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what I did was I first of all there is an option in actual paper to see whole questions at once. You can scroll down and you can see all the questions at once. You don't need to move from one question to another. So I opened that window and I scan through the screen which question is more suitable for me to solve in the beginning. So in that very moment, in 15 seconds, I scanned throughout and I identified that this particular questions are of my genre and I am strong in that and I will tackle them first and afterwards I will move. So I started from the 30th question and then solve up to 22nd question, and afterwards I moved to the first question, and in that very sense I solved the quant section. But to be honest, it's a very subjective strategy. It depends on the person to person how to tackle quants, because according to their capabilities and how much they prepared for that.
So, I'll also like to add a bit of my 20-year experience here, because this question was a little twisty. Ayush, you said that what's the strategy of quad paper? So, bache, take sectional tests, take mock tests, devise your own strategy. Okay, strategy. All the people who had, when I say the best practice, I'm picking up from one person and the other person, because there are few common things. But the 90% of the thing is very you dependent, very Ayush dependent. So Ayush, you have to devise your own strategy, and you will be able to devise your own strategy after having fallen multiple times in doing what you should not have done. Okay, only then will you get the right path. कि ये करूंगा तो ये गलत हो जाएगा, ये करूंगा इस टाइम तो ये गलत हो जाएगा, वो प्रैक्टिस जब तक नहीं करोगे ना तब तक नहीं आएगा. Am I right, Adarsh?
Absolutely, sir. Practice is the key.
So when he said, Adarsh was not able to correlate, but when he said he took 30 plus mock cats and obviously he took sectional tests as well, he was fine tuning his strategy all that while. Okay, that what happens when I get a particular kind of a paper. So that's why you have multiple mock cats which you have to take to devise it. Okay, next question comes from Stuti. She wants to ask. She, I think, needs positive words from our side, because she's saying, can we start from June? Will 6 months be enough for the preparation? What do you think?
Uh, Absolutely, so Stuti, you can start from the June, because me too started in July. So if I can do that, anyone can do that, because I really honestly I'm not that kind of good student in my cats. So yeah, you should go for it.
No, he's a very good student in the CAS as well, just that he's being too humble. But all that I like to add here is, Stuti, it's not about 6 months from now. It's about, if you delay it further, it's another 1.5 years from now. And 1 year in an 80-year life, or whatever life expectancy you take, makes a lot of difference. You'll be ahead of all your batchmates by that much of time. So don't try to think about dropping and giving it more time. 6 months are more than enough. You can still get through it. Just prepare sincerely. Just prepare sincerely. Fill up the walls of your room. Fill up your rough books if required. But the concept which you're getting wrong, don't get the concept wrong for more than once. And how many concepts will be there? I think enough, not more. Uh, as many concepts as you can cover in 6 months. It's an aptitude paper at the end of the day, emotional as well as all other aptitude is checked. Get that balance right. It's very, very important. Next question comes from Khayati. She says, how did you improve your vocabulary? Though you've talked about it, and communication skills, what articles did you read? So over to you. Yeah.
So, Kathy, actually, I started studying random topics of my genre. Like I like reading philosophy or some kind of that. So I started picking up those articles related to philosophy. And while reading, I started having a habit of underlining the words which I didn't remember the meaning. Then after writing those words, I go to Google, I search for the meaning and jotted down the meaning and making a list. And then what I will do is that I will try to memorize or understand the meaning of each and every word. And after that, I will again go to the article which I was reading and then start over the whole reading concept. In that sense, I was able to differentiate before and after the change. I was able to grasp in the article. So this was the strategy I was following for multiple articles, and this helped me to develop, you can say, a situation where I was able to land in the author's shoes and understand what is the mindset of the author and what is thinking while writing this particular RC part. So this approach works for me, and I think one can try and formulate his or own approach. Like Deepak sir has already mentioned, it's very you part, not others.
Yeah, so Vasundhara, I think we've answered your question. Is there any particular lesson that you learned during the CAT preparation or mistake that you made? Would you like to add, or we've already answered that question? Any particular lesson that you learned during the CAT preparation or a mistake that you made? Oh yeah, I think you can answer that question. What did you do wrong, which you think that our students should not do wrong? Should
So
not do
what?
it. That's a
Okay.
difficult question, but
Yeah.
yes, because not
Actually.
everything is perfect. Let's accept it, है ना?
So, sir, one thing that a student should not do is, so there are multiple things which a student should not do.
That's a good way of putting it across.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the main mistake which I made is that giving less mark in the beginning. I think that was the part where I was lacking behind, and that I have to take a toll for that in the final paper. Giving as much marks and analyzing them is absolutely and most important for the CAT preparation. Syllabus is like anything under the roof, but mocks give you the broad perspective what to study and what to not.
Hmm.
So you can follow that approach.
Right. So I think Vasundhara, we've answered your question. What the part which was remaining, we've answered that question. So we'll move on to the end. Please let the questions flow. We'll come back to this, but we'll understand this interview part as well. Then come back to the CAT 2023 and take it up from there. So how was your? So you got the result. Obviously, the happiness would be multifold. How did you then start preparing for your interview, or were you already preparing for the interview section, interview
Uh,
part?
Actually, so we got our result on 21st December, and after that we celebrated. We went to parties, and then I started again in February for the interviews and that part, because I had my semester exams in January, so I wasn't able to prepare for the interviews. And in February, I started for the interviews. By first of all, what I did was I looked over the YouTube and other sources how interviews are given in the IIM, and by learning the experiences of others, I try to formulate my own strategy, that how I'm going to drive the interview in my favor. Because it is very important to understand in CAT that interviewers wants you to drive the interview. And if you're giving them the cues to follow, they will ask the questions related to that very cue. So always try to formulate a structured interview in your back of the mind. And whenever you enter the room, try to deliver those cues to the interviewer so that you can drive the interview in your own direction. This was the strategy I was working. And one thing, they can ask and will ask many things in the interview which you might not remember or doesn't know the answer. So on that very aspect, you don't have to be panicked, and you have to just simply say that I don't know the answer for this question. This is also very important to how you are tackling that very situation where you doesn't know anything. They observe this also in the interview. And coming to the VAT part, for VAT, what you should do is picking up the topics. With there are multiple sources for the topics which you prepare. You can use Chat GPT for topics as well, and try to write. Writing is absolutely necessary. You have to understand where's the punctuation mistake you are making, where's the grammatical mistake you are making. Try to understand your own error, and then attacking that error is important for writing part. That's all,
Right.
sir.
So yes, no. In your whole preparation, what I really liked was that you were writing everything and then trying to understand. So I think that just cements the fundamentals, and that's very important. So how was your Bangalore interview different from Calcutta interview?
So actually, so my Bangalore interview was in IIM Bangalore campus only, and my Calcutta interview was in Bombay. It was in ITC Grant. So both interviews were a little bit data centric, but the difference was that in Bangalore interview they were tried to going deep into an tried to figure out an analysis part of a particular question they asked me, and the answer which I gave, they wanted to go much deeper into that answer. How I was able to come on that answer, what facts I was using to defend my answer. They were trying to look at that. In Calcutta, the interviewer was different because they asked me, they put me in a hypothetical situation like you are this, and this is your business. Now you have to figure out how you can generate more sales or how you can generate more revenue. This was the part which Calcutta focused, and in Bangalore it was more like of analysis in a data centric. Like they asked me, what is the major why UP population is more? So for that very question, my answer was that because of Ganga River Delta region, there is more accumulated population in UP Bihar side and the agriculture sector. So as I mentioned, agriculture sector, they took that and started driving the interview towards the agriculture sector. This was the way approach of Bangalore interview.
Yeah. So that's what clues are for, keywords are for. That you end up speaking something, and they'll then want to understand the complete thing in depth. So okay. So what about other XLRI? Did you go for the XLRI interview?
Actually, sir, I was not able to give the interview because I wasn't feeling well at that time, and still the interview was online, but I wasn't feeling good at.
Okay, never. Yeah. Any other input? So how should one prepare for the interview part? Should they start preparing right away along with the other preparations? Should this do some particular readings? What's your take on it?
Sir, I would suggest to start early because in IIM, when you come, you have to tackle interview like situation with everyone. Professor will ask same questions in a similar manner. So you cannot avoid the part. Like if you're preparing late, then you are or you have a mindset that I have to just pass the interview and then it's sorted. Then this will not work. In the IIM, you have to be able to comprehend your situation very promptly and try to give the answers in a well settled fashion manner, like as your interviewer. For that purpose only you have to prepare you how you interact with your professors and your colleagues in the college. So preparing interview from an early stage is really helpful for developing that long term ability to communicate with others.
So if you're reading online newspaper articles, I would suggest to all the students that please take a screenshot, save it. If you're reading it physically, hard copies of newspapers, please start taking cuttings, pasting them in an old notebook, and that's how you go through it. Start with section which you are comfortable with, but move on to section which you are not comfortable with. Like if there's a new topic which features in front of you, please make it a point that today is the day I will get my liking for it. Okay, so we all come with preconceived notion. This I like this and I don't like this. Hang on, strengths and weaknesses are not what you like and what you don't like. Strengths and weaknesses are different from your likes and dislikes. A dislike can also be a strength. Okay, so please focus on it, and automatically over when you do it multiple times again, and when you do it day in and day out multiple times, it will end up giving you results, good results. So that's very important, and that's how you will build up your GK, build up your ability to answer the panel. Uh, it would not happen in the 15-20 days. there are few lucky people, but it would not happen in those 15, 20 days. So it starts from here right now. Am I right, Adarsh? Would you agree with this, or there's
Yes, sir,
something else?
definitely, sir. The
Okay.
early you are more benefit.
It becomes a little easier. I would not say
Yeah,
it's not possible. अब अगर लेट भी किया तो हो जाएगा. ऐसा
but
नहीं है हम बैठे हैं. But
okay.
जल्दी करोगे तो थोड़ा आसान हो जाएगा.
Yes, sir.
राइट. सो कभी कभी लगता है ना कैट के सेक्शन पहले ही बता देते, हम उसमें उसी के हिसाब से शुरू से ही वैसे कर लेते. सो
Yes,
अभी
sir.
पहले बता रहे हैं इंटरव्यू का, वो अब कर लेना. राइट. सो now Vasundhara is asking, how many questions should I attempt in the CAT to get 99 percentile or above? Adarsh, back to the nation.
So for 99, I think if you are scoring more than 50%, around 50% marks, then I think you are in the 99 percentile group. So I would suggest 10 to 11% in each section can fetch you 90, above 99 percentile.
I hope you've answered that question right, Vasundhara. So keep in check the negative marking. That's very, very important.
That's
Okay,
absolutely.
yeah. So Khayati wants to ask, why did you only choose Calcutta? Why not any other B school? What makes you choose Calcutta? Yeah.
Oh, so again, this is very subjective. Like Calcutta, I have heard that their finance is one of the best in the country. So I wanted to study finance. That's why I chose Calcutta over any other school. And they have a bigger brand value. Like it's a oldest IIM of India, established in 1961. So you have a big brand value attached with you for your lifetime. A whole another world is there. So Calcutta is.
Yeah. However, Khayati, you can find your own reasons of choosing a particular B school, right? So not everyone likes, how should I put it? Not everyone likes, you know, you can have different likes. So you can choose a Bangalore or Ahmedabad. It depends on you. Okay, but have your reasons of likes and dislikes. Okay, so that was all about the questions. Uh, tell us something from CAT 2023. If I ask you five or more, or lesser for that matter as well, what should be the strategy of preparation from now on, Adarsh, for all our students listening to us?
So I think one if a person is starting from today itself, like in June, so he should first of all I try to identify the areas where he is strong and areas where he is weak. It is very much important for a problem to solve to first identify what is the problem. So, if you are aware that which area is your strong area and which area is your weaker area, you can manage your time in devoting the most of your time in first half of your preparation in managing your weaker areas and making them bringing them to up to a level where you can able to solve level 1 level 2 questions of that area. And afterwards in the second half you have to majorly focus on your stronger areas, because in that very half you have to maximize your score. This is the approach which I think a student should follow in this very timeline, because this works for me, because I have the similar kind of timeline. I was preparing from July and then appeared for 2022 attempt. So I think this strategy will work.
But there's a independent non-Hitbullseye student asking a question. Pranshu is his name. How to prepare for CAT without coaching? So what's your take? Is coaching important? Give an honest answer. Is coaching important? I'll also like to add here from my experience. But what's your take on it? Is coaching important? Okay, so he wants to prepare without coaching. What's your take? How should we go about it? First, is coaching important? Adarsh?
I think having a mentor is absolutely necessary, because they have the experience to how to save your time. They can help you to save your time without wasting your time in the different direction, rather than focusing your time in the path where you can achieve your dreams. Coaching plays this part. They are there to guide you. And for me, it works. So I wasn't able to solve the papers without the help of coaching. So I chose coaching. And rather than, if you are willing to prepare with your self study, you have to be very much careful about your schedule, because in coaching, if a person has a coaching classes, then he's somewhat mandatory for him to go for the classes and give like 6 hours 8 hours for that very part. But if you're self studying, then it is up to you whether you have to study today or not. And in that part, if you are not motivated enough, then you might skip one of few days, and that will lead to a chain of reaction where you are not able to grasp the speed which is required for preparing for the CAT. So very much I would suggest you should take a help of coaching materials and coaching classes. They are very helpful. This is my take, sir.
Okay, so I'll like to answer this question through an example. So I'm a golfer. My 8-year-old daughter is also learning golf. Okay, so we decided that she would not have a coach and she would not take part in any tournament. Okay, or any friendly games as well. So I'm giving you one hypothetical situation. So for next 1 year, she only whatever I keep telling her, she just stands there and practices. Okay, that today, so there are different shots, different kinds of shots. She just practices. There's another, or from the other angle, I do another thing. The way actually I do it also. She has a coach, even though I know the game. She has a coach. She goes for tournaments, even if she does not score a top rank. That's okay, right? But she knows what she's competing with. Okay, so it's as similar. It's similar, Priyanshu. It's similar to saying you can also do an MBA through IGNU, and you can also be a part of the. You can also do an executive MBA, and you can also be a part of regular MBA. Which one do you think will add the most value? Okay. Second, I think I've answered your question. Second, today is a time of not. Is also a time of knowing what not to do. Okay, with so much of things available on YouTube, आजकल तो लोग दवाइयां ले लेते हैं यार YouTube पे देख के कि और Google पे पढ़ के कि ये दवाई किस चीज की है, फिर मैं दवाई ले लूंगा. ठीक है, आप उस दवाई से ठीक भी हो सकते हो. ठीक है, बट आपको करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए is a very personalized thing. You want to do it, do it. You don't want to do it, get enrolled. You'll have a rigor to your preparation. You'll be able to benchmark yourself. You will be able to know where you are standing. You will be able to improve or understand from the competition, because at the end of the day, it's not about absolute marks. It's about percentile. Percentile, the concept itself means percentage of students below you in a very simple way. Not the exact way, but a very simple way. So how do you benchmark yourself? How do you see what are you doing? We had one of the fantastic students last BBKP session. Go back 14 days. There's another BBKP session of a student who's cracked a IIM Ahmedabad, I think. He says the same thing. August, started with classroom, made it sure next 30-35 days he completes all the classes, attended classes, and got a system to his preparation. That's what a coaching institute would do. But in case you still want to do it, there's enough and more material which is available online. Go about, do it. Okay, so next, so that's about it. Okay, I think I've spoken so much. Others spoken a lot less than me. I'm sorry, Adarsh. But concluding remarks, Adarsh, we have 7-8 minutes left. So what do you think? पहले तो ये बताओ, क्या लगता है, पेपर ज्यादा बड़ा बनाया हुआ है कि इतना बड़ा है?
Actually, sir, the answer for this question is that paper को बड़ा होना ही पड़ेगा, because
very good. Right.
MBA is all about how be thinking more broader. If you are narrowing your thinking, then you are not able to cope up with the environment. So thinking broader is absolutely necessary. And if there is a broad paper, a longer paper, then you have to think in each and every aspect of that paper. So this is absolutely necessary, sir, on my side.
What else do you think students should do for the CAT 2023?
So I think students should do little bit of meditation because it is very much important to keep their mental state stable. So I would suggest meditation will help you to be calm before your papers. And like sir mentioned, that doing nothing before the paper is very important. Like half an hour you give yourself to analyze, to assess your situation, to imagine what course of action you can take in the subsequent hours. This is very much important to keep yourself calm. Yes, sir.
Okay, anything which you missed but you would want our students to do while preparing?
I think, sir, you guys have covered all the major aspects which are required, and rest is depending on the student what else he is looking for. So, why that is uniqueness, sir. That is unique.
Okay, so anything else from your side before I start concluding? Anything which you feel I've not been able to touch, missed before I start concluding?
I think, sir, you guys have touched each and every aspect. For me, it's
Okay,
all
so
over.
I'll summarize the session.
Yeah, yes, sir.
You know, another very good thing which comes across, which we did not mention at that time, when he said that know your strengths and weaknesses when you start the preparation. We in other BBKP sessions covered it as know your starting point. Every student has a different starting point. Every section you have a different starting point. Please don't start from scratch if you know you're good in a particular section, right? Develop your strength in that section. No need to start from the very concept and take it up. But remember that you have to know your starting point and work accordingly. Second, June, July, August, at least September as well are the months where you can address your weaknesses. I don't think if you do it for 3.5 months, 15 days of June, complete July, August, and September, if you address something for 3.5 months, it cannot be improved, it can be improved. Okay. That's what Adarsh did. He started in July, but kept on working on his weaknesses. And finally, mock cats are also a part of your preparation. So keep mock cats. Don't go like I have studied this and hence I need to get the mock cat right now, or my score needs to improve in mock cat. No, that is not how it happens. Mock cat needs to be seen in conjunction with your preparation. And the moment that starts happening, your preparation is wholesome. Also, please, if you're failing in mock cats, thank God that you're failing in mock cats and not the final paper, because you're getting yet another way of not how not to fail. Okay. Third, your best section does not mean you get score the maximum in that section. Right. So if English is my favorite or DILR is my favorite, hang on. It may be that I may not be able to score the maximum. Depends on the difficulty level of that section. So keep that in mind, and have that faith that you'll see the same background. We'll see the same background behind you next year when we'll talk to you in the BBKP session. Okay, paper is very much manageable. Have that faith. You don't have to be an Einstein to crack the paper. Einstein would get into research. You're not getting into research here. Okay, please, the paper is manageable. Have confidence. Don't fight. Okay, fight as in don't create difficult situations. What I mean by this, that saying that everything will go perfect, and just because something is not going perfect and I'm trying to make it difficult from my side. So I'll give an example that would be much more simple. So let's take, you have a younger brother or sister troubles you. Please accept that no one's life is perfect. Okay, how calmly are you able to handle even that situation is going to help you in the paper. Things will become bad. We've had students who've prepared through COVID, who had bad COVID, 3 months COVID, still ended up cracking an IIM because they realized, accepted, slowed down that this is a part of life. So not everything will go perfect in this preparation, and that's how you have to prepare for this, right? The moment you accept that things will go haywire, and you have to come out of those difficult situations in a calm manner, this paper will become even more manageable. That's what he said in maybe not as many words, but that's what Adarsh meant when he said meditation. What you can control is yourself. You cannot control the external environment. That is it from our BBKP session this Friday. All congratulations, best wishes to Adarsh and to our students who are watching this session, and many more who are not. The positive vibes, let the positive vibes flow. We wish Adarsh the very best. He's talking to us from his IIM Calcutta hostel room and throwing light. What else can we ask from a gentleman who takes it out from his busy schedule? Thank you so much, Adarsh. Thank you so much, everyone. Over
Thank
to
you,
you,
sir.
Adarsh, before we end the session.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate. this, and thank you for having such a lovely audience which are listening to us very patiently. Thank you all for this session. It's
That's
very
how,
helpful.
Adarsh, and I told you yesterday as well, that's how my journey started 20 years back with Hitbullseye, such wonderful bunch of people. It's just been 20 years and you feel like being associated for another 30 years. So all the best to Hitbullseye, all the best to everyone. Thank you so much, Adarsh, for coming. That is it for the session today. Bye. Take care.